Hey, what's up internet? My name is Brandon and welcome back to another video where we talk about cameras, lenses, and all things tech. And today for this video, I'm going to review the Sigma 16mm 1.4 lens for the Sony E-mount. So without further ado, let's go. Alright, so for this video, I had to make notes because apparently I can't remember anything. So if I look like I'm looking down or stop and think, I'm just reading my notes. But anyways, today we're talking about the Sigma 16mm 1.4 lens. Now, if you've never heard of Sigma, they are a third-party camera lens company. Basically, you have like Canon, Sony, Panasonic, Fuji, they all have their own lenses, but then you have companies like Sigma, Rokinon, something like that, and a few others that will make lenses for the cameras. Now, Sigma, as a third-party lens company goes, they are the top dog when it comes to lenses as far as third-party goes. Overall, you can't go wrong with Sigma lenses. Now, just like any other company, they have really good lenses, and they have not such good lenses. But again, as an overall company, Sigma is good to go in my book, and you can't go wrong with them. Alright, so for this video, we have to talk about this lens, the Sigma 16mm, which I'm using on the camera right now. But I'm going to have to take it off to show it to you guys. So let me figure out how I can get the kit lens on there. Alright, there we go. I switched it out. That was pretty cool, right? I don't even know if that worked. But anyways, 16mm lens. Now, the good thing about 16mm is it's a super wide angle. Now, the reason why it looks the same is because the kit lens is also a 16mm, but it's a zoom lens. And 16mm is going to be equivalent to a 24mm on a full frame camera, because this is made for a APS-C camera, which is going to be, you know, a crop camera or whatever you want to call it, APS-C. 16mm gives you that wide field of view. There are wider. You can get a zoom lens that's 10 to 18, which is going to be almost fisheye. It's going to be super wide. But as your everyday vlogger or everyday YouTube video creation or just a typical average wide angle lens, 16 is going to be the one for that. This will do all that stuff that you need to do. Landscape photography, astrophotography. You can do portraits. You know, it's a good lens for wide angles. Now, the other awesome major seller point for this lens, and is one of the main reasons why I bought it, is its wide aperture. Now, my last video, I talked about bokeh and aperture and how that works and all that good stuff. So if you want to watch that video, I'll link it right here and you can check it out. But basically, this is a 1.4 aperture, which is probably one of the widest that you can get, especially in a 16mm and a wide angle lens like this. That's pretty incredible, a 1.4 aperture. This camera will be great for night photography and perfect for vlogging to get that bokeh effect. This camera is awesome for that. The next positive for this lens is the build quality. The focus ring is like smooth as butter. No resistance, no jerkiness, nothing. It's smooth as butter. And it feels like it's all made out of metal. It's got some weight to it. It's pretty heavy because there's a lot of glass in there. But as an overall lens, the build quality feels like super expensive. This thing only goes for like $399. It might be $299. $399. That's what it is. And that's pretty freaking cheap for a wide angle lens that is that low of aperture, 1.4. I mean, if you go get a Sony lens that's almost equivalent, like well, they don't have a 16mm, but the 10 to 18 wide angle lens, which only goes to f4, it's constant f4. That thing is almost $1,000 for that lens, and you don't even get 1.4. You don't even get a wide aperture with that lens. Granted, that one has, you know, OSS and this one doesn't, but we're going to talk about that later in the video. But to get that aperture, this is the lens to go. All right, so now we're going to talk about some of the negatives. Now, I was mentioning the OSS, and this camera doesn't have it. So if you're going to shoot on something like the A6400 or the A6100 or the A6300 and the A5100, you know, they're not going to have any type of in-body image stabilization, IBIS. And this lens doesn't have OSS. So you put the two together, it's going to look a little bit shaky, but not too bad. But if you throw a lens on there that has OSS, like that 10-18 from Sony, it won't look too shaky. But if you use a camera like the 6500 or the 6600, you won't have an issue because they have IBIS. But the shakiness is not really that bad compared to, you know, the lenses that have OSS or the cameras that have IBIS. It's not too big of a difference. They actually do pretty well of making it not too shaky. But when you have the two side to side on video, you can see a difference. I can't show you guys because I don't have one of those cameras and I don't have a wide angle lens to show the difference. But I'm sure if you YouTube it, you can see it and you'll be able to see the difference. And then if you YouTube some other people reviewing this camera, the ones that go out and vlog on the... Oh, that's my dog playing with a squeaky toy. Anyways, if you YouTube people reviewing this and they have on a GorillaPod, you can kind of see the shakiness, very little. But once you notice it, you can tell it's there. But overall, it's not that bad. Not that bad in my opinion. But that's only really something you have to worry about if you're going to be out moving around and vlogging with a GorillaPod or something like that. But if you're just doing like cameras in an office, sitting on a tripod, you don't have to worry about it. Now, the last thing about this lens that is, it's a negative, but it's not a negative because it doesn't bother me and I have no issue with it, is the focusing motor can be a little bit loud, or not loud. It has some noise if you are kind of close to it and you're using a shotgun mic. It will pick up the focus motor, but if you put a music on your background, your video or something like that, you won't even notice it. Or if you use, you know, if the mic is kind of far away, or you're using it on a boom pole or something like that, you won't notice it. But I just had to throw that out there, let you guys know. It has a slight motor noise, but not that bad. Not that bad at all. I wouldn't let that discourage you from buying this lens. In fact, I wouldn't let any of that stuff discourage you from getting this lens. No OSS, slight motor noise, very little distortion. Those are the three negatives. Not bad. You get all the positives. Great focal length, wide aperture, cheap, well made, and it fits any Sony camera. You can't beat it. $399, incredible lens. I would highly suggest it for anybody, for anything. My main lens that stays on my camera 99.9% of the time. I love this lens, and if you're looking to buy one, you'll probably love it too. And I'm sure I'm not the only video or review of this lens that you've seen. There's thousands of people reviewing this lens on YouTube, and they all have nothing but good things to say. So just pull the trigger. Just buy this lens. You won't regret it. So that about wraps up this video. And if you guys found that informative and you liked that video, give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Either way, it's all good. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. You know, all that good stuff. Comment, blah, blah, blah. You guys know what to do. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And I will see you in the next one. Take it. Take it. If you won't give it to me,